Here at Mowers and Blowers, we push them into the garage, but they come out driving. Hey everybody, good morning. It's Henry at Mowers and Blowers. Beautiful sunny day today. I have a late start because my wife had these big pots of soil, you know, that she had plants in, they died, so these big pots of soil, she wanted to dump out the soil. I'm like, well, don't waste the perfectly good potting soil, you know what I mean? My dog, Boba, was running around digging holes and stuff in my backyard, which is the reason why my backyard is in such disarray, because I've never put fertilizer back there for the past couple of years since we got him, because I don't want him to, he's in the backyard all the time, so I don't want the chemicals from the whatever. The Milorganite I was trying on my front. Thought maybe if that worked out well, I could put the Milorganite in the back because it's safe for pets. But honestly, so many people swear by the Milorganite, but honestly, I don't really think it's, I mean, yeah, my lawn is growing pretty nicely in the front now, but I think the purpose of Milorganite was more so to turn it green rather than it growing better, you know? And I've really seen neither, you know? I felt that the other different fertilizers that I get from, let's say, Walmart, called Expert, whatever, you know, the Expert brand, that's turned it green in like a week, you know, super green, you know, and I feel like the grass grows better with that fertilizer. So I don't think I'm going to buy Milorganite anymore. I've tried it, 2 bags, doesn't really, I mean, I just don't think it looks very good, you know, it's just my opinion. So I've been using that extra potting soil from those pots and filling the holes that Boba's been digging up over the past couple of years. And it's long overdue. Put some Scott's grass seed inside those holes, you know, hopefully it'll grow grass in a couple of weeks. Anyway, so a lot of comments last night about this plate where the teeth adjust, including my friend Nick from Medford. Yes, the teeth are there, but they're not visible, right? And the reason behind that is this version has that knob over there, right? Obviously, today we're going to be working on the Franken Tractor Nightmare. I got to get to it because I've at least, you know, gotten rid of some of my, you know, outstanding little things that clogged up my garage, you know, like getting rid of those 5 engines and kind of organizing just a little bit, you know, so I feel a little bit better. So this model, you have the knob that adjusts, you know, the height. So that's why there's no teeth that need to hold it, because this adjusts to the level that you want. And when you drop the handle, it goes to where you set it. That's why the teeth are not exposed. Ooh, Mr. Ice Cream Man. So after further review of this tractor, I mean, it appears that I'm really gonna need to overhaul every little piece of this tractor. Which is a lot of work, obviously. But you know what? If I have the parts, why not try to put together this, you know, a Franken tractor? And not only that, at the same time, each episode deals with a different portion of this tractor, you know? And so I'm going to go through with it. So let's just start disassembling this front part here, okay? So I'm going to take off this, what they call this a plenum. And a plenum is basically an air isolator for the ram air. The ram air, so that the air is deflected and isolated into the areas where the air intake goes. This is usually used for a opposed twin, which I don't have. So, I mean, I do have like an engine that I could put together, but that's later on because I might be missing some things. Like the tins to the opposed twin as well as the engine cover, I don't have those. Plus muffler and pipes. Actually, I might have muffler, I don't know. But anyway, that opposed twin engine, I'll put together some other time. I'm just going to remove some of this other stuff. Battery top, tray. This is the battery stay, you know. This is also connected to the 2 panels over here. I do actually have a dash that looks like this, but I'm not sure if it's exactly like this because they had different models where it's a cable engaged lever for the PTO and a rod engaged one. They seem to differ slightly, you know. Here's a choke cable that is seized, right? And also Nick took the throttle cable, which I don't know if I have either. So the reason why I want to take this apart and show you guys is because when I got this machine from Nick, right, he was lowering and raising the mower deck, and it almost seemed like only the right side was going up and down. The other one was just staying still. And I know why now, because I looked carefully yesterday, and I'm going to take this thing apart and show you. So I'm going to take the battery stay out. When I say stay, I mean it's just the level where the battery sits on. So it's just 2 1/2-inch bolts on each side that hold the battery stay. And that's basically this project. Is just like a 20-episode series on different parts of this tractor. And you guys all know what it looked like before I started, so... I mean, literally a carcass. I mean, it's still a carcass right now. I mean, it's more of a carcass now than ever before. So the battery cable is attached through here, right? So that's the battery stay. Now, I haven't decided yet what engine I was going to use, so I have to rebuild that 18 or 20 horsepower engine, that one of the 5, right? Make 5 into 1. That's going to be a gravity-fed gas tank, you know what I mean? So I might think about, instead of the battery here, I'll put the gas tank here. Then I have wire that can lead all the way to the back, you know, to relocate the battery to where the gas tank is. I think that's what I'm going to end up doing, because I thought about putting the Jamal Alatet 20.5 Kohler V-twin engine on here, but honestly, I think that might be kind of a waste. At least that's what Larry says. He's, don't do that, that's a waste. Anyway, I wanted to show you guys. I'm going to take you off the tripod so you can see better. So the reason why it was all funky like that is because, look here, I'm gonna move it. See, now that part there moves up and down, right? This part here just doesn't seem to, but then it was so loose, right? And the reason behind that is because it's so rusted, right? This rod over here, right, has broken from the part on the side there, so it's not even connected. See, watch. You see this? See that? This rod here is not even attached to that. So honestly, fellas, I have to take this whole thing out, just like they say in Canada, out. Fortunately, I have this part, okay, with the teeth, with this rod in good condition, that attaches to this side. But I'm not sure if this works, because I don't know whether or not there's a difference between this and the cable and rod driven types. Also, as you can see, this the dash is in really bad condition. I mean, it's like all rusted out. I'd have to paint it, you know? I don't know. I think I have another one in the back, but I'm not sure if, like I said, the handle defers, you know? Not only that, removing that would mean that I'd have to remove the steering wheel and the, well, just the steering wheel. Sometimes that's a task in itself, you know? So I'm going to end up painting it a little bit anyway, so I'm just going to try to remove these side panels and get that new handle in there. So I have to remove you guys from a different angle, because it was such where the camera is right in the sun. And as you know, if you guys are YouTubers, you'll understand that sometimes cell phones, if the temperature's too high, the camera won't work. So I have you now sideways where you can see what I'm doing over here, and at the same time the camera's in the garage and not beat on by the sun. These are things you got to think about when you do videos, man. It's really kind of a pain in the butt. But anyway, today my task is to remount a seat. I have like 3 or 4 seats, right? But the others are trash beyond repair. There are some that I have a good cushion, but it's coming off the base, you know? And that plastic coping thing that you put around it to adhere the seat to the cushion, I mean, you will absolutely lose your mind if you try to do that. And I have lost my mind a few. I used to be like a rocket scientist before I did that. Once you do that, you lose brain cells and you like they die and stuff. So I'm like dumb now, you know. So this is the best one. As you can see, the cushion is adhered with that thing onto the seat. It has the bracket, right? And so this will work. And I'll just, you know, these cracks over here, I could fill this with some silicone, put Gorilla Tape around it, blah, blah, blah. I can fix it, you know what I mean? The others were, this is the best option, basically, for fixing this. Let me get you closer to that, and I'll tell you why we need that seat base. We need the seat base because, look, I just have to remove this bracket here and put the seat on, which is easy. This thing here, look at that. This is the bottom piece of a seat. It's rusted so bad that it's just fused onto this panel here. And don't think I'm going to have safety switches working on a Franken tractor. Come on. It's a nightmare. Anyway, so here's the gas tank, as you can see. More than likely, I'm going to have to relocate the battery to where this gas tank is. Remove this gas tank and put a regular gravity-fed gas tank, which I have plenty of, right? It would also mean, to get this out, I'd have to remove the fender. You see what I'm saying? The fenders are probably all rusted to heck, you know, which means that I'll have to do some bolt cutting and then find some bolts to replace them with, you know? So, in a lot of ways, I'm not just trying to get this tractor going. I'm almost doing a complete restoration on this thing, which actually I've never done, you know? So it'll be kind of interesting to work on it. It'll be a slow project. I'm not in any rush, you know what I'm saying? So at least this will give me an opportunity to do every facet of this tractor, you know? So it'll be like a series of an LT1000 fix, you know what I mean? Every little thing about it can be fixed. And by the way, I think the brakes need to be fixed too. And, you know, given the way this is, you know those brakes are seized big time. So I think eventually I will have to remove this gas tank. We'll see how far we go. This is not attached to the fender is not attached to the dashboard center console area, so I wouldn't have to worry about doing stuff now and then having to dismantle it later. So I'm going to put you on time lapse as I take apart the two side panels of the dash. wanted to show you guys the holes that Boba dug and I filled in and put seed on. They're all over the lawn, but we're gonna fill those holes. Do your dogs do this? Hey guys, so it took me about a couple of hours, and it wasn't as bad as I thought. You know, I think the biggest problem I had was removing the push button. The push button with the wire that goes all the way down with the spring, where a pin goes through the mechanism that is attached to the long braided wire with the spring. That thing was rusted so bad. I used that penetrating oil from my friends over at Lucas Oil Products, and that loosened it up. I took a chisel and I just banged it until the pin came out. It's interesting because I actually met Bob and Larry for that exact video that we did together on how to remove the button out of the height adjuster lever, you know. As you guys saw from time-lapse, I removed this side panel and this side panel, right, which you had to do to loosen the arm mechanism from both sides, right? On this part here, there's like a bracket. Along with that side, there's a bracket which hold the two hangers for the mower deck on the bottom. You have to take those out first, right? And then when I replaced this thing on here, it had to be just right for you to fit it beneath the steering column, which was pretty tricky. I won't lie, you know, it was pretty tricky. The knob that you turn to adjust it, you know, that model had that knob. They both do, but this one was basically you needed that knob to adjust where the height that you like for your lawn to be mowed, right? Which is why the teeth didn't show on that one, because the knob, you were dependent on the knob to adjust the height for your mower. Whereas this model here also has the knob, but it also gives you the choice of the teeth. The teeth are visibly shown, and they're actually used for this mechanism, see? So I had to cut it off because it was rusted completely, you know, solid, you know? So I took the knob off, just zzz, grinded it off along with the choke cable. I'm not going to need a choke cable because I think I'm going to get a single cylinder on here. And then I put the battery plate over here back on here because I think the gas tank, if I decide to put a gas tank on here, it'll fit with the nozzle going right through that hole there. So I did put that on for structural integrity, right? So this thing is solid now, man. You know, it was rattly before. And now this mechanism works. I replaced the button with the long braided wire with the spring here. I grinded this pin, as you saw, using the bench grinder that Larry and Bobby gave me. Works great. Tap the pin in there, so now this is very functional now. You press it, you got level 5, level 4, level 3, level 2, level 1, and at the same time, the hangers move up and down, you know? I'm going to show you. As I move this lever, up and down, letting go of the button so it stays there, right? We look at the hangers on the bottom, and they both move at the same time. Functional. I put the solenoid back on again, and that's attached to the wall. The steering column, believe it or not, is in good condition, and it works very well. As you saw, I put a new throttle cable in there too. It didn't have a throttle, right? So now I have a throttle lever and a throttle cable, and it works as it should as well. As you saw, I also replaced the seat. I just replaced it on that existing bracket I didn't want to climb underneath to loosen these bolts. I just attached those bolts onto it. Even connected the seat safety switch, which I'm not sure if it works or not. As you also know, I didn't have a knob for this shifter. I found a knob and put it on. Also for the PTO engagement handle, I also did not have a knob. I'm not sure if that's stock or not, but I had it in my drawer and it fits perfectly. So I've got the two knobs, I got the throttle cable, I got the seat on. I've replaced the entire middle part with the exception of the dash. The two panels, the adjusting lever for the height for the mower deck that has one with the teeth. I swapped out the assembly of the adjusting handle lever with the push button, the braided wire, the spring, and the pin. And so that functions as it should too. And so obviously you saw I did do the, on episode 2, I replaced the entire front end. I gotta tell you, those are good parts that I could still use. These here are the bad parts. As you can see from that handle, look at that. That is really rusted. As well as that seat plate as well. And this panel I'm going to throw out. I got to tell you, while it is really fun putting this together piece by piece, honestly, building a lawn tractor from scratch really wasn't my idea of having a good time, you know what I mean? While it is interesting, I guarantee you I'm not going to do this again. I'm only doing this because I've never really, I mean, I have sort of, but I mean, literally putting this together, every facet of this tractor I'm replacing. It's amazing how many parts I still have for this, you know what I mean? So, I can't quit now. I got to keep going, you know? I got to get an engine for this, muffler. Mower deck we've got sorted out, right? All we need to do is install it. We've got the throttle cable. We've got the height adjuster all worked out. Don't know if the solenoid works yet. We do need a battery. Gas tank is in the back, but I have a feeling that we're just going to use the battery for the... We're going to relocate the battery to the back, and all you have to do is get one long positive 12-volt cable to the positive terminal of the battery and attach it to that part of the solenoid. So I'm going to need a long power cable, right? Then I'm going to take another black cable, attach it to the negative part of the battery in the back when we relocate it, make a seat pan or something like that and a battery box, and then connect that black part merely to the frame. So that black wire is pretty easy. The red wire, you just take it from the back underneath and attach it to the positive part of the solenoid over here. So it really, to relocate a battery is not going to be too bad, all right? Gas tank easy, just put it right over here, and I think that's really the easiest way to go. I don't have to mess with engines that have voltage regulators and fuel pumps, you know? That's just trouble, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I've decided that I'm not going to take the 20.5 horsepower Kohler V-twin off of the Jamal Lt1000. I'm not going to do that because that engine I'm going to save for something else. Maybe I'll rebuild that Jamal Lt1000, I'm not sure. But yeah, next step is I'm probably going to start working on putting 5 blown engines and making one out of it for the intention of putting it on this. So that's our next step, is getting an engine for this, because we essentially, to put the gas tank and relocate the battery is not going to be too big of a deal. To put the mower deck back on here is not going to be too big of a deal. But the big deal is finding a muffler and building an engine for this thing. So, I mean, I'm going to paint this thing sunrise red. It's going to look wonderful. I mean, a big contrast to what it looked like before, you know? So building a tractor from scratch. This is the Franken Tractor Nightmare series. I hope you guys enjoyed episode 4 or 5, I forget. I do little bits at a time so far, but my next episode is probably going to be rebuilding that engine. So that might take a few episodes in itself, you know, but we'll see if it works. But thanks a lot for joining me on this afternoon. Have a great weekend. I'll see you guys next time on Mowers and Blowers.